Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I am doing well, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. It's good to be back. Happy New Year to everybody, and hopefully everybody had a great Christmas and New Year, as we had our only time off that we have all year. Was it 2 weeks?
Technically, yes.
It went very quickly.
Yes, it did.
But yeah, so this was actually the first year that I think we talked about before, because it was last year when we talked about these things, that we didn't go back to Missouri this year.
No.
So it was kind of the first time in a while where, not that, I guess relaxing-ish is the term. At least we didn't have to have like 18 hours in the car driving, looming over us, so that part was nice. And we just kind of took it easy, and it was nice. It was refreshing. I'll put it that way. As Jamie said, it was a weird word for me to use, but last night I said I was reinvigorated. I feel like it's kind of the first time in a while I feel like going into the new year, I don't feel like we just got back from, driving to and from Missouri and like being exhausted. Sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, it was really nice to not have to like pack the car and pack everything on Christmas Day to leave the next day and then be gone for a week. And then as soon as we get back into Florida, it's like, oh, time to record another episode, get back into it. So
yeah,
it was very nice to have a little break. So I'm for
us personally, it was nice just for our workflow and everything, especially after like it was such a busy with right after Black Friday and all this that is so busy. So it was nice, and we had a really nice Christmas. It was very kind of laid back. The kids, opened their presents and played with them for like 2 or 3 days straight, which is the kid you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I think that's the whole thing. Yeah.
But I'm excited to get back into it. I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So we obviously haven't covered some things for the past couple of weeks. And we're going to, not really a typical episode, I guess you would say, because we're going to have talking about all the things coming in 2024 and maybe some of the news we kind of missed since we were gone a little bit.
Honestly, a lot of what we're talking about is some of the news. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of a dual episode there.
Yeah. So we figured we'll use that as an opportunity to go over some of that and, look forward, if you will, into 2024.
In the year 2000.
Close. Very close. And to help us do that, we were going to have Kendra on, who is the owner and operator of Zip Travel Co. So she's going to come on here and talk to us all about this because, she obviously does this for a living. So she can, she sees more travel trends and some of the things, reading between the lines maybe that we can't. And it's always a good time when she comes on. So
absolutely.
Hopefully she had a good Christmas. I don't really know if she did. I'm assuming she did. We haven't really talked to her that much other than having her come on the show.
She has a 5-year-old. I'm sure she had a great Christmas.
A very tired but good Christmas, yes.
Right.
But before we get to that, just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to us on podcast, we'd please ask you to leave us a review and subscribe to the podcast, the channel, or I guess you just call it the feed. I get YouTube and podcasting all mixed up in my head. And for those few weeks back that we had the leave a review and we'll send you a shirt, your shirt is going to be coming to you now that we have it's a little less hectic at the moment, so your shirt will be coming to you this month, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, if you want even more content, you should check out Club 32, and that's our private group. It's like our own little Patreon we do where we have some additional content over there, like live streams like Cool Kids Kitchen, the Club 32 Speakeasy, the Club 32 Show, which is a live stream we do every Tuesday with all the members there and just hang out and chat about everything. When we're in the parks, we do live streams like room tours. If there's some interesting foods and things like that, we'll kind of go live and show those. And there's a private podcast feed. There is 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products, and a private Facebook group, a Discord, all sorts of things. So if you want to join there, just head over to ctmvip.com, and we have monthly or yearly options and even a free trial if you'd like to try it out a little bit, dip your toes in before you commit. So you can do that. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And speaking of Club 32, we have the meetup coming up in a couple weeks. So if you are a Club 32 member and you're heading to the meetup, the shirts for the meetup are now live on the site. So if you go to ctmshirts.com, just if you want to make sure the shirts get to you before, or I guess in time, to be shipped to you before the meetup, order by Tuesday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So as long as you order by Tuesday, we can get those shirts to you. And then, of course, if you miss the deadline, we can always just bring the shirts to you if that's something you would rather do, because we'll offer that for Club 32 members. We will bring those shirts to you. So those shirts are live on the site now. So Well, since we won't have our usual, I don't know if it's called intermission, but our halftime of the episode, we're going to do poll time now at the beginning of the episode. So I realize this is very different. And for those that don't like change, I apologize. But right off the bat, we do have a poll time.
Poll time. All right. For the first poll time question of 2024, I asked, when is your next trip to Walt Disney World? And I think I ask this every year at the very beginning of January. So I'm always curious to see who's got trips booked and when. So it says 32% are coming this month or February. That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
Let's see. 18% do not have a trip booked right now. 16% are coming in the spring. 11% in the fall, 10% in the summer, and then December, and then 2025 and beyond are 7 and 6%. So quite a few people don't have a trip booked right now, actually.
Yeah, I was surprised that many people were coming this month or February.
I know. We were talking about the meetup coming up in a couple weeks and how this is our first time doing it in January. And a lot of people were like, we want to go during Festival of the Arts. We want to go when it's not hot. And, it's a great time of year to go if you are not a fan of the heat and the Festival of the Arts and just kind of being there and it's not as crowded. So, maybe it's catching on. People are just like, yeah, I'm coming. Of course, there's Run Disney stuff going on this month and next month and all that. So,
Well, I feel like, I like this time of year. I've always said you move to Florida. You live in Florida for this time of year where it's like 50s during the day, 60s, and like at night it gets a little chilly, but I think it's a great time to go. I mean, not always, but a lot of times the crowds can be less depending on the week or weekend that you are there. Obviously, like you said, there's Run Disney stuff, and every once in a while you've got, cheerleading competitions or some other thing going on that'll make it busy. But for the most part, you can find a nice little weekend in there, a week where it's not so bad. Mm-hmm. The weather's great. It's not super humid. And, of course, Festival of the Arts, as I know it's your favorite festival. I'm on the verge of saying it's mine. I used to always hold out that it was Food and Wine, but as time has gone on, I'm like, and a big reason for that being is the time of year. Like,
absolutely.
If there is a warm cheddar soup in January, I would probably try it and have it and maybe enjoy it versus, in August, I don't know how much I'm really enjoying hot cheddar soup.
It's hard to enjoy when it's 90 degrees outside.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
When the people at the booth are sweating profusely into your soup and you're like, I think it's supposed to be salt. I don't really know, but
that is not an image I wanted in my head.
I'm not saying it's happened, but it probably has happened.
Okay.
I'm just saying either way.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great time of year and thoroughly enjoy, going to the parks and doing things. I guess the only con would be it gets dark earlier.
Well, yeah.
I really wish we could get rid of daylight savings. I really do.
That's a conversation for another day, sir.
I know. But think about it. If it got dark at like 6 or 7 instead of 5,
game changer.
Just be sitting on Easy Street. But anyways, one can dream.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, let's get to our, like we said, this is a different episode than usual just because we're catching up on so much stuff. I guess we'll just get into all the topics today. All the things we missed and then the things going forward. So like we said, we have Kendra from Zip Travel with us. So Kendra, hello and welcome back to the show.
Hello.
And hopefully you had a good Christmas.
We did. We had a great Christmas. We didn't get to go anywhere, but it was nice to be home. Very nice to be home.
Same thing. Not going anywhere is kind of nice to just kind of just enjoy being home and not doing a ton necessarily. So.
Yes. Now enjoying each other and being home.
Are you big New Year's people or just do you lay low on New Year's?
We really, since we've had a family, we just kind of lay low. We have our really good friends over that have children the same age as ours, and we have a game night, and we had a taco bar. So, super low key. Okay. Shot some fireworks.
Yeah.
Drank the sparkling apple cider and then went to bed shortly after midnight.
That's the way to do it.
That sounds similar to what we did.
Well, I never have been a big New Year's person, even when I was in my youth, younger. And now I'm like, you say like board games and like a taco bar. I'm like, that sounds like a good time.
Sounds great.
We
had a great time.
Yeah.
I mean,
we kind of did the same. Go ahead, sorry.
No, me and my very good friend, we beat the husbands in spades. So, like whooped them. So we had bragging rights now for a while.
There you go. Yeah, we hung out we got some friends 2 doors down, and it was cold enough. We had a bonfire kind of with like a little solo stove and sat around and did that. And then our daughter was determined to stay up till midnight, but she was fading. So I was like, oh, they have an early New Year's ball drop at 11 o'clock. You can find them on like YouTube. So we did that, and then she went straight to bed. She was exhausted.
Nice.
So yeah,
love it.
It was good though. It was good. So, all right. Well, Jamie, how are we going to do this? We're just going to go through. We got some things here, and we're just going to go through and talk about it all. And obviously, during this episode, Kendra's just going to be in here, and we'll all chime in on stuff if it deems worthy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of give a rundown of exactly what we're talking about, and then we'll just discuss our feelings on it, or what we're excited about, or what we hope happens, because this is all like looking ahead. So,
what if there's rage?
I don't want to like dwell on the rage.
Okay,
if we could just tone the rage.
You talked
down.
about emotions, and you didn't mention rage.
I did talk about emotions.
Just saying.
All right. Well, do you want me to start with the first one?
Yes. What is the first one on our list here?
All right. So first one, 2024, the dining plan is back. So for stays starting on January 9th, the quick service dining plan or the Disney dining plan can be added to your vacation package. I believe annual pass holders can also add the dining plan on. And there are also 2 new discounts available involving the dining plan, which I want to talk about real quick. So this was just announced today. I think it was today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
it'd be yesterday as of.
Sorry, I'm in the past. I'm sorry, I'm in the past. So today on Wednesday, yesterday for y'all, Disney Plus subscribers can get a free dining plan when booking a non-discounted 4-night package that includes hotel and park hopper tickets. And this is only valid in the summer, basically from July 1st to September 30th. But you can get some good savings in there, I think. I mean, depends on how many people are in your party and whatnot. We've done that breakdown before, but
and I'll tell you what we saw most today was the room discount being the better of the 2.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. And there's also the other one, which they had announced a while back, and that's the kids play and dine. And that's for 4 non-discounted nights with theme park tickets and dining plan. Kids will only pay half on dining for most arrival nights, and most of it in March, and then again from mid-April to the end of June. So those are the 2 dining plan discounts that are offered.
And that one actually for families with small children, young children, that actually is a really big savings.
Okay.
A really big savings.
Yeah, like we're not, I will openly just say we've never done the dining plan, so we actually don't know much about it when it comes to this stuff other than somewhat have broken down numbers in the past. But yeah, I think that's definitely, and that's one thing we want, you've done it before and you obviously saw a lot of those. So
yeah,
wasn't sure on how that would break out for people.
Now, Kendra, question. So I know there were a few changes made when it's returning than it was before. So I know like some of the credits are differently, or you're getting different allotments. Is that correct?
So I really, honestly, because it has not gone live and I haven't experienced the new one.
Okay.
I don't fully know.
Okay.
I think that we're not going to really know until we're actually going down the end of the month.
Yeah.
And until we experience it, because nothing is coming back the way it left, right? So like pre-COVID, we had this down to a science. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were even talking about it in our agency group the other day. They were like, do you think we're going to be able to turn in X amount of quick service credits to get a pizza at the food court at the All-Star Resort, which was something that you could do? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Are they going to let you do that? I don't know. I think only time is going to be able to tell.
Right.
With that. And, you have people on the fence. You've got people who love the dining plan because it's paid for and it's easy and it's allocated and they love it. Mm-hmm. And then you have people on the other side of the fence who are like, but I don't eat that much food at home. So why am I going to spend it on vacation? Mm-hmm. And I guess I come in and say, you're going to spend money anyway. And if it's free, it's free. So, you have to kind of play devil's advocate there when it comes to that. But a lot of people are like, but they're doing it. They're offering it in the middle of the summer.
Right.
It's hot. Well, yeah, it's Florida. It's going to be hot.
I mean, I guess the good thing is that you'll be in the AC when you eat.
Correct.
Ideally. But, well, and I get why people, I understand that people have the idea of liking it just because it's almost like that all-inclusive resort feel to it where you don't have to, I mean, you do, now that's one thing, you do still have to do with tips and stuff.
Correct.
People.
Well, you do. And it's not all you can eat. It's not 3 meals a day. It's not walk up and get whatever you want, whenever you want.
Right.
So I think it's important for people to understand that. It has an all-inclusive feel.
Right.
But it's not fully all-inclusive just simply because you can't just walk up and grab whatever you want.
Yeah.
There is an allotment. There is a selection. If you do the quick service dining, you're not going to be able to sit down at, Andy's Backyard Barbecue or Rodeo Roundup, and get a meal there with your quick service meal plan. You'll have to pay for that. So there are things to consider when you're looking at this dining plan or the different levels of dining plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm remembering when we talked about this, I know it was less than what it was before, which isn't a shock because everything that's come back, how it was before COVID that was taken away, it's coming back is not the same. So I can't remember the specifics, but I do remember it being much more of like a balancing act of how you were going to pick and choose them though.
Yeah, it was something like, so you do get like I think it's one alcoholic drink now, which I know that was the case before COVID, but it was only for like a year or so. Like it was a fairly new thing they did.
They did, yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, and we had massive pushback from where we are because we live in a very southern state, and we'll affectionately call it a Bible Belt state. Mm-hmm. And people were like, we don't drink at home. Like, why am I paying for this? So we had a lot of pushback, honestly.
Yeah,
with that portion of it.
I can see that happening. Yeah. But, I guess we'll just kind of see how people respond to it. In the next,
I mean, really, right now it's a waiting game, and to see did the quality of the food change?
Yeah.
Because you hate to say that, but I'm kind of a foodie, and if resort food during a period of time is going to be free, is it going to be cheaper resort food? Mm-hmm. Is it going to taste the same? I think time's going to tell with a lot of this stuff.
Well, dining, outside of Disney and inside of Disney has been much different since 2020 in that, and we've talked about it numerous times about like large parties at Disney is a lot of times a mess. And there's still good places and there's still good food, but obviously like it'll be interesting to see portion sizes, like you were saying, how the quality of food is and all that stuff like that. So it'll be something I'm sure we'll hear about starting, later on in the year as when those things kind of kick in. But, so we will see. But
yeah, I'm going to move on to the second one, and we're talking about park hopping restrictions will be lifted beginning January 9th. And this means you will no longer have to wait until 2 p.m. to hop to your second or third or fourth park of the day. You can now hop at any time during the day.
Oh.
Can we just cue the Hallelujah chorus, please?
Seriously.
So nice. That's so
gosh.
nice of them to do the thing that everybody else has been doing for almost half a decade now. You realize it's going on 4 years. They're like, okay, you guys can go where you want to go before 2:00. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, yay, I'm glad. That's
Absolutely.
Good. But the fact that if anybody was taking bets on if this would have been January of 24, I don't think many people would have guessed that far out. Just kind of, interesting.
I
But
definitely did not have it on my bingo card. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
Not there. It was not there.
yeah, I feel like it was somebody betting in Vegas about it's a line that, they put $5 down and they ended up winning a bunch of money. And they're like, I never thought it would happen. And like, that's kind of what you had here. But
Yeah.
either way, hey, that's good. And by the way, why January 9th? I have never understood this from the get-go.
It's right after the marathon.
The massive holiday. Yeah. And it's after the big Christmas and New Year's push, and then after the marathon.
Yeah.
Because you still have massive crowds leading into that marathon weekend.
Yeah.
Right, but I ask again, why January 9th?
I don't
She
know.
just told you.
I know, I'm just being facetious here
Oh,
because it's
okay.
never been the case throughout all of the history of Disney World. There's been busy times, obviously, and I get why they want it because they want to definitely it's all about staffing and all
Sure.
that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, either way,
Well, it's pushing people into areas of parks that you want them in. And I mean, it's, it's the control of where the dollar is spent and where it's needed to be spent.
Yep.
Well, some of it I think has to do as well, and it'll be interesting to see how this affects it, which is the virtual queues.
Actually, that's on my list up here.
Yeah, of like how that and we'll talk about that, but obviously that changes things. So I'm wondering if part of maybe their reasoning was it would mess with how they've set up the virtual queues, and that if your park hopping time was after the second drop.
Well,
So,
we'll mention that in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to the third one, which is park reservations are no longer required for most guests.
Yes.
So date-based tickets, whenever you buy a ticket, it's got a specific date range with it. Those do not require park reservations anymore.
There you go. There you go.
For other tickets that are non-date based, such as like annual passes, park reservations will still be required on most days.
And what are most days? It's a very weird. I'm not an AP holder anymore. I used to be, and since COVID, I couldn't justify it. I mean, maybe I'll get back to that point, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And I would think if I were an AP, that would be really sad to me, because what if all the APs were taken up that day? I don't know. I'm assuming that that's kind of what they're trying to limit, so that paying resort guests get first come, first serve. Is that what your take is on it?
I think it's more of they know when you buy a ticket, they know when you're coming. They already have you accounted for. The whole group of people they have never known on a given day when they're going to show up are the APs. So, and they're basically just saying, well, you guys are, in my opinion, they're saying, well, you guys already have APs. Like, they're the group that you could sit there and say you need to have a park reservation system because they're kind of used to it already. Like, it's always been, in my opinion, a big ask of people to like buy your park ticket and then get a park reservation, and then all this extra stuff for people who aren't used to all this is a lot to ask for. So I think for them, they're just going, we never know when the APs are going to come. So when it's really busy, you still have to tell us when you're coming. But when it's not as busy, you don't have to tell us when you're coming.
Well, and this is exactly what we talked about years ago. And I think I remember talking about this with you, being like, I don't understand why people that buy the tickets on a certain date range have to make the reservations. I never understood that.
It was always a very, very short-sighted, flawed system.
I was like, you're basically making two different reservations. Anyway, annual pass holders will have a good to go days, and those will be what Disney assigns, in which a park reservation is not needed to enter a park. We don't know how many they will do.
Do you know that yet? Being an AP holder?
We don't know when they will be. We don't know how they're doing it until the 11th. That's the day that they're going to start doing it.
All right.
So I did look on my Disney experience, and there are bonus days, what they're calling bonus days, starting, I think, I want to say maybe even tomorrow, for the next like 4 or 5 days at like Animal Kingdom and Epcot. I don't think there's a Hollywood Studios one there, but they do have the bonus reservations like already in there. And I just think that good to go days are just basically another word for bonus reservation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
A lot of terms.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of terms.
Well, and I guess I would say the argument I would say was, which on them, like we were talking about, is if there's a group of people you can try and put more of this stuff on, it would be your APs. I don't think it's necessarily a smart thing in the long term, but compared to like the people that are coming for the first time, like it's almost like you buy a movie ticket and then you have to make your reservation for your seat. You know, it's like a really, like in most, like in normal everyday life, you don't ever have to, like, once you buy your ticket, that's your ticket in. Like there's no extra steps. And I think there was a lot of people, and we had talked about this before with you, even on the show, about the guest feedback not being good. And I think one of the reasons was it's just very complicated system. And if you've got a family of 4 or a large group, like I don't even want to know the algebra that goes into all of that.
Here's a question for Kendra, something to look out for on your end. I'm wondering if, since there's no park reservations needed for the date-based tickets, will the date-based tickets sell out? Like, will they just be like, oh, sorry, we're not selling tickets anymore for this date range?
That's a good question, because we've not had it happen yet, so I don't know.
I'm wondering about that.
I know, and I do know that guests that are staying on property will always have first pick, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always going to get to go before anybody else.
As it should be.
I actually agree with that.
I do too. Or that's what it has, what makes, or what we think is happening,
right.
Or what they have said in different trainings. So
yeah,
but I don't know. I guess that's one of those things that the first big holiday that comes around. What is the first big one? Is it Easter? I mean, I know President's Day and Martin Luther King are big holidays, but really the first big one is around Easter, spring break, that kind of time frame, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember last year President's Day weekend was really packed. So, and I think park reservations sold out for some of those days. So I'm thinking that's, if people haven't bought their tickets, if people haven't bought their tickets yet, they're just going to be like, oh, sorry, tickets are sold out for that day. This will be interesting.
Well, you always have the people that are always buying tickets. They walk up and buy the tickets, which I always find fascinating. There's a bunch of people doing that, but I wonder if those people just won't be able to buy tickets. But at the same time, maybe they allot for the walk-ups.
They probably do.
I'm sure they would.
Okay, so in talking about park reservations not being required and all that stuff, so there's a little bit of changes going on with virtual queues. Now, there's been a little, like, some questions about it, especially with the annual pass holders. So I'm going to do my best to try to, like, explain everything. Okay, so for virtual queues, you may only hold one virtual queue spot at a time. You can get a boarding group for another attraction at a different park once the preceding one has been scanned in. So you can do 2 virtual queues in one day.
You just can't hold them at the same time.
You just can't hold them at the same time. And it's because, obviously park hopping is not a problem anymore. So you could actually, you can go to Epcot, get 7 a.m. You get the Guardians of the Galaxy boarding group. And let's say your boarding group gets called at like 10 a.m. You ride it, you've scanned in, and then as long as you're in Epcot, or I guess as long as you're in Magic Kingdom, you can get that 1 p.m. boarding group for Tron. Mm-hmm. So does that make sense?
It is. It's kind of complicated.
Yeah.
It's very close to the way Disneyland does things.
Okay.
It's not exactly the same, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
I think people who really want to maximize the park hopping are really going to enjoy that.
Agreed.
If they're there to really hit those rides, and they're not there for the experience, but they're there for rides.
Right.
Because you do have families that just want to ride everything as much as they can, and this is going to work out well for them.
Right.
But it does open up a whole new set of, I guess potential problems, which would be, so let's say it's the AP time period where you don't have to have a park reservation. Can you join a boarding group?
No.
See, and that's
you
the
can't.
thing.
And that's what I was going to talk about.
That's the thing. And I was asking, like, kind of backhandedly here. That's the thing that I think is the most frustrating part of it. So it's like, if you're going to have the park reservation system, at least you had that aspect where, like, for us, it's a 2-hour drive. So we got up, we could technically get a boarding group if we wanted to do it and be like, okay, let's head down. Now you just can't. And I feel like that's, again, you gave something for the APs and then you're taking it away from them. You can come in wherever you want, but now you can't get virtual queues unless you have because you can't even get a reservation to do a boarding group on those days.
Yeah, I guess I should clarify. I said no very quickly, and I should have retracted myself.
You did a very wife thing.
Good to go days. So let's say you have a good to go day for Epcot on a certain day. Yes, you can make your boarding group for 7 a.m. on that day. If you're so someone in Capture the Magic community had a question about this, and so he actually talked to 2 different cast members. Okay, so his question was if he was going to Hollywood Studios that morning, let's say he was going to Hollywood Studios that morning, wanted to start there, he wouldn't be able to do that because he would have to make a park reservation at Epcot still because he's the annual pass holder if this was a non-good to go day. Mm-hmm. So for annual pass holders on non-good to go days, you still have to have a park reservation for whatever first virtual queue you want to get in.
And on those days, you can do a boarding group as long as you have a park reservation system or have a park reservation.
That first one you have to have. So if you want to start at Magic Kingdom that day, then you have to make a park reservation.
Right.
At 7 a.m.
But on days you don't need them, you can't join a virtual queue.
That's what's interesting. I the way I understand it is you can.
Okay. I mean, obviously there will be other things that will pop up, but it's either way, I feel like there's, as with most things with Disney, it's gotten a little bit more complicated.
Yes.
Perhaps. So.
It has.
Well, I'm sure there'll be day one.
For APs.
Yeah. Well, I think day one will be people testing that out. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. There will be. And there's going to be loopholes closed up very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about what is coming to the rest of Epcot, which is World Celebration will finally open completely in early 2024. And that's Communicore Hall, which will have the new Mickey and Friends meet and greet space, a demo kitchen, a mixology bar, and some gallery and exhibition space. And then Communicore Plaza will have a big performance stage. And I don't know if there's anything else with that. And then this is quoting from Disney. They say, these new spaces extend the Epcot Festival's Beyond World Showcase and provide a new home for additional exhibits and entertainment, offering the perfect space to gather with family and friends. So that's opening soon.
Yes.
They don't know.
they're
sometime
it's going.
In 2024.
It's going. I'm just really excited to finally be done with the construction.
Well, I think the main
I haven't been back since the walls are down. The last time I was there, there were still walls. Now I got to see the Moana exhibit, but there were still walls up. So I'm very, very excited to be able to see it with no walls up.
It's so much better.
Walk through the center. Again.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to walk through there without walls. I mean, that's the main thing I think most people probably care about is now you can just walk through there. Mm-hmm. I still am curious how that whole area is going to be in the middle of the summer, given it's a lot of seating spaces with not a lot of shade, which right now it's nice, but you get in the middle of July, I imagine that's going to be maybe not so great, but we'll see how that goes. But this other stuff, I mean, I've always been curious about this whole what it's become. So obviously what Disney announced the Epcot reimagining of Epcot was going to be versus what we've gotten is a bit different. But I don't know how much I like this idea of obviously the big, draw for Epcot is the festivals and how now they're trying to bring the festivals out of World Showcase into the rest of the park. I don't know if that's something that is good. I don't know if that's something that is needed because I definitely think it. I mean, we're already way past it anyways of changing what Epcot is and was. It's a different feel than it was even 20 years ago. But I guess we'll see. I mean, I always like the exhibits they used to do. So I like that aspect of it. But I guess we'll see how much of a hit this is. I guess we'll just have to wait and see overall how most people feel about it, a couple of years from now when it's all said and done versus how it used to be.
I would hope from what they had presented to us that it opens up the people traffic because it gets very, very crowded in the countries And I'm sure that there will still be that. But hopefully it will open up some more of that to where you don't feel like you're shoulder to shoulder on, Saturday afternoon during the Food and Wine Festival.
I don't know I don't know if it will though, because I mean, if you're going to Food and Wine, let's say to go check out all the food and the stuff in the countries, unless they're offering those types of things and like really alluring things in this area, I don't know how much you're going to get people to pull themselves out of World Showcase, because it's not like it's a short walk to begin with.
That's true.
So it's like, yeah, you're talking about like a long walk either way. So you're going to have to, I just don't know how you're going to get people like that. If their idea is maybe people will go here before they go to World Showcase, maybe, or after, but I don't know how much it's going to directly affect crowds in World Showcase, given people have gotten used and love the idea of like, eating and drinking around the world, as they say.
That's true. That's true. Maybe they just add more.
They could. I mean, obviously we'll have to wait and see. It's just such a long walk. I mean, if you think about, even if you're like in the Canada Pavilion, I mean, that's a trek to get back to the front of the park to these new areas that they're going to open.
That's true. Epcot's huge. You have got to have your really good walking shoes on when you're in Epcot.
This is true. And I liked the fountain that they had. So,
Fountain of Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, from a visual, like up high, it all made sense. It was all balanced and looked symmetrical. And now it looks like a Jenga thing falling over. It doesn't look as good.
A Jenga thing.
You know how Jenga towers get all crooked and leaning and they're not straight anymore? Yeah, it's like,
okay.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's not symmetrical anymore. That's my whole point.
Okay.
They have messed up the feng shui.
Yes. It is not feng shui anymore.
Okay, we're going to move on to talking about other attractions that are opening. And Jared coined this word, theme-overs.
It's like a makeover, but it's just a new theme onto an existing ride, essentially.
Yeah, so Tiana's Bayou Adventure, it was supposed to open in 2024. And originally it was supposed to be the summer. And now there's really no set date. So that I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm expecting summer or fall. But yeah, so anyway, it's just basically an extension of the Princess and the Frog story. It incorporates a lot of Mardi Gras, and I think it'll be fun. Jared's not so convinced.
Well, my issue is it messes up Frontierland, and Frontierland is directly, if you look into the history of Walt, it is directly related to Walt. And I think they're more than likely, if you look at it, they're probably going to do something with Pecos Bills to turn that into some sort of New Orleans restaurant thing. So I don't necessarily think it was whatever. If people like it or they don't like it, but I think putting New Orleans back in this area doesn't make a lot of sense. I've said this from the beginning, but I'm not going to sit here and act, you can make whatever work in a theme park. But what I'm saying is Frontierland being so directly tied to Walt, it's one more thing that we're losing that was a Walt thing. And, it's the same ride. It's going to be, that's why I called it like a theme over. It's the exact same ride. It's just going to have different theme on top of it. But I feel like in the future, they'll probably, it'll expand out from there would be my guess.
Yeah.
In terms of like New Orleans.
Well, it makes sense in Disneyland.
In Disneyland, yeah.
It makes sense over there for sure.
Well, and it's because of the Haunted Mansion and how it was positioned, and I'm kind of torn because I see Jared's point. But we love Tiana in this house, like love it. We love the music of that movie. We love beignets. We love the food of New Orleans. We love all of that. So I'm here for it. I get what Jared's saying, so I understand that aspect of it. But I am very excited about this theme over. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously, I will save judgment about it. And I imagine it's just the same ride, just a different theme on it. But I, as somebody, I'm not as high in New Orleans as you are. Of all the major cities I visited, I can't say it's one of my favorites, but maybe it was a bad day in New Orleans when we were there.
Or Nolans.
Nolans.
All I know is we were there for half a day, and I was like, I never want to come back here again. But that was, if you live there and you're listen, no, it was a half a day. Maybe it's a bad day, but just saying,
It's not for everybody.
It's
not for
you know, it was just one of those things. I was just sort of like the beignets were good. Those were nice. The lady kicking cars in the middle of the street was a little weird, you know. And the guy trying to very aggressively sell us roses. I was like, I'm good, sir. And he was very adamant. I buy his roses. And I was like, this is strange. I don't want to do this.
Oh, man.
And that was like right when we got in there. I'm like, this is a really weird introduction to a whole city. But
well, I think that one is the biggest opening of 2024 as far as attractions go.
I just want to say that's the only thing on the docket in terms of, and that's not even really a new ride. Let's be really honest about this.
Well, there's a couple more that are getting refreshes and stuff.
It's a theme over.
Yeah, they're getting theme overs. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about completely new rides or attractions. There are none.
There's not one, no.
And I've been saying this for a while. I'm just going to say you have Epic Universe opening in probably, at the very least, close to a year. Mm-hmm. I'm still shocked Disney has not at least announced that they're, and not a blue sky thing, announced that they're going to do something like big. Like I think that's the most shocking thing I would say in 2023 for me is that there was zero announcement of even saying we're going to do some, ambitious project. It was just all, we might do this. We'll see. Like we thought about it. Interesting.
Well, the next one we'll talk about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they're already working on it and they're just not telling anybody.
I mean, I would hope they are. But my thing is, even if they announce it today, whatever they're building, I mean, let's look at how long it took them to do any of the last few attractions in the last 10 years. That thing's not going to be done for 4 to 5 years. So you're giving your biggest competitor 4 or 5 years to eat up in even more market share. That's why I think I'm just surprised by not even announcing, not that they would break ground necessarily right away, but just at least saying, hey, we're doing, I don't think they're going to do a new park, but like a new land or an extension like what they talked about over in Beyond Big Thunder back there, just something. I think that's the most surprising thing is going into 2024, the only, and I don't even think it's a new thing, the only quote new thing is the Tiana, theme over.
Well, Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, is coming to Hollywood Studios and it's replacing Voyage of the Little Mermaid. So it's basically a whole new show. Like they're replacing the effects. It's obviously the story is the same, but it's getting a huge refresh. And I am very happy about this.
Me too. It was needed. It was time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll be in the fall of 2024. So, obviously it's not immediate. I wonder if they've even started working on it. Like, have they started doing it?
So I had heard that building is completely vacant.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, that.
Well, it needed it. It was.
Well,
it smelled.
Again, it's another theme over, but I think it's an easy win for Disney. Mm-hmm. I think this is something that, and I think I agree with Kendra. You should have put this back there long ago. Mm-hmm. It's a popular. Obviously, people love Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And it's something that can, especially at Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios doesn't have a lot of attractions to really eat up crowds, and I think this is something that can definitely do that, and especially kids, and especially in that area, it makes a lot of sense. So. Yeah. Yep. And in terms of if they start, I doubt they've started on it, but
I don't know. Country Bear Jamboree is getting a refresh. It's going to introduce a new act and some reimagined songs in different country genres.
I'm going to be very honest. I'm surprised it has lasted as long as it has because it is very unpolitically correct.
Right.
But we love it. Like it's one of those things that's very nostalgic and we laugh and it's going to be sad because I remember my dad and my daughter just really, really hysterically laughing at the Blood on the Floor song, which is terrible when you think about it in a children's theme park.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things that they, right.
They are bears.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do. The renderings look cute.
Yeah.
But I will miss the what was once was. But Walt said it best. Got to keep moving forward.
Disney World is not, or Disneyland too, is not a museum.
Yeah.
I like to say.
Well, I mean, I've made my thoughts known on bears for a long time on this show, and I will just say, my only disappointment is that they're not completely going away. But I get that people like this. So again, as Disney goes, this is something I think they're giving people what they want, which is maybe. I think they're probably in a situation of, being quite honest, like even talking about the Tiana stuff. I don't think they have the money right now to put billions into a new land or whatever, just because of a lot of the other things going on with Disney Plus and the movies and a lot of the things. So doing things like this is cheap, but it also is your current existing fan base wants it. So I think they should do more stuff like this. And if this is what they're going to do for the next few years, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, is to do more things that are little things that your audience wants. Because a lot of the things the Disney crowd likes are not these. I mean, people like the big rides, but a lot of people like these little small things that have been there and they have this little, nostalgia based, things to them. Mm-hmm. I think we could and should see more of that stuff, in terms of like, I guess you would say new stuff or theme overs happening, along those lines as well.
Speaking of not theme over, just more just like addition. So Star Wars, the adventure continues. We'll add new characters and stories, including Ahsoka. No set date though. Just says 2024.
I don't think there's many set dates on any of this.
Just like sometime. If we give you a date and you get mad at us, we don't like that.
If we give
we're
you
not
a
going to
date,
tell you.
We're not going to hit it and you're going to get mad.
That's what I'm saying.
And the foreman won't get back to us, so we don't know. We can't find him. He had a lot of fun at Christmas. We don't know where he went, but he'll be back.
And also, probably in 2024, the Zootopia themed show that's replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug. The Tree of Life thing.
I don't see that happening in 2024.
I don't know. I don't know. If they do it, it wouldn't be until probably very, very late 2024.
Well, if you think about Tough to Be a Bug, they have that giant animatronic. It's like a kind of a complicated animatronic. Like
it is.
It's got like one of the more, I can't remember it. It's been a long time I've seen the show, but I know they have a very big animatronic in that show.
Yeah.
So like, unless their whole idea is just to, like they're doing with Splash Mountain, is just to retheme everything. Maybe it could be done in 2024, but if they're doing it from the ground up, I wouldn't think it'd be 24, but maybe it will be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here for it. I hated that show.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Hated it. So I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. We love Zootopia in this house.
I'd much rather have Zootopia than It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Well, I was surprised Zootopia was only getting that. I kind of thought Zootopia would get the, like Dino Land stuff.
Well, they saved it all for overseas.
Well, I think it is a bigger property overseas, if I remember correctly about the box office for it. I don't think it was huge here.
As huge as it was over.
I'm pretty sure that made it. I'll have to look. I think it made most of its money overseas, though. Which.
Okay. Moving on to dining, we're just going to talk about one place that's opening this year, and that's the Cake Bake Shop.
I'm so excited about that.
It's supposed to open early in 2024, so I think anytime.
And they'll have a tea room aspect, and it's going to be so cute. I mean, I'm so excited about this place.
It looks, everything I've seen and heard from other people, because it's not the only location, it's beautiful. Like inside it's so pretty. The French bakery style thing. Yes, I'm ecstatic. And this is on the boardwalk. I replaced ESPN Club.
ESPN. Yeah. I'm so excited about this. We will most likely plan a trip just for the opening because I really am. I love all things tea room. I love I'm still sad that they do not have the afternoon tea back at the Grand Floridian. Because our oldest daughter has been, but our youngest hasn't yet because it wasn't open. Yeah. It hasn't been open. So, since 2020. So I'm very, very excited. We went off property when we came down, with the girls, to do a tea experience just because we love that. That's just something. Maybe one day you'll see me with a tea room because that's how much I love it.
Yeah.
So this is something I know nothing about. I really have no opinion about the cake bake shop other than maybe it'll have good cakes. Red Velvet would be my suggestion. But what is a tea room? Is it just you drink tea? I don't know anything about that. I've heard of them.
It's more of an experience. Like there's different types of sandwiches and fruits and pastries. And I mean, it's very girly.
Very girly.
It's just very, very, very girly.
I mean, I've never been invited by my bros to go to a tea room. So
You probably won't ever either.
It's fine. It's one of these things. I know nothing about it, but hey, the cake bake shop sounds like a fancy bake shop. So there you go.
like the dish, like the teacups and the dishes are like very pristine and
dainty.
Yes, and it's like you feel like you have to wear a dress. Like you have to wear a little like sundress when you're going.
And maybe a hat, a fascinator.
Yes.
So it's like you're going to the Kentucky Derby.
That's the similar vibe.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's more from what I have seen renderings, and Jamie, maybe you can tell me too what you think. It's more like Parisian.
Yeah.
Almost like cafe, French type cafe meets this fun afternoon tea kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it also looked like they were going to be, did you see this? And I may have completely, and maybe I read it on one of the other websites because this is not the only one. It is the only one from what I can see in Florida, but they're going to have birthday party offerings. Did you see that too?
No, I didn't see that. That sounds cool.
And maybe I read it somewhere, and of course it could have changed 50 times since then. But I know that they offer those, or from what I think, at other locations as well. So another little fun opportunity for a special celebration at Disney also.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I do appreciate the very on-the-nose name, though.
The cake?
The cake bake shop. I feel like you got a bar like the Bar Beer Lounge. And you're like, thank you very much. I know what this place is all about. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I'll be excited when it opens. It was supposed to open last summer and it didn't make it. So, so happy to have that.
And is it still saying, the last time I checked, it was early 2024? Did you still see that too?
That's what I saw too. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
I was hoping for this month. I mean, early 2024, but it could be March
until they subtly change it to mid 2024. They'll just put opening 2024.
Yeah,
they've done that a few times. By the way,
I know. I hope not.
You look back, you're like, wait a minute, didn't that say? You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so moving on to talking about resorts, specifically Disney Vacation Club. The first thing is that the DVC Tower at the Polynesian Village Resort is opening in late 2024. This will include Duo Studios, which are kind of like the Tower Studios at Riviera, Deluxe Studios, 1-bedroom villas, 2-bedroom villas, 2-bedroom lockups, and I think Grand Villas. I haven't seen like anything about Grand Villas yet, so I don't know, but I know the other ones are included. And construction has been going on for a while. It has a very different, at least in my opinion, it has a very different look, different aesthetic than the rest of the longhouses. And
you mean how it doesn't look anything like Polynesian?
Well, you know what? I don't want to say it doesn't look like it's from Polynesian.
Looks like a corporate.
It looks like it was added on. It's what it looks like.
I've heard it referred to as the eyesore. I'm not saying I said that. I've heard many people refer to it as that.
I'm glad to have more than just studios and the cabins. Or the bungalows available, because that was the only thing that you could do. You could book, and that kind of limits you if you're vacation club. If you own there, it's like, well, I only have those to choose from. So this gives you a lot more choices. And from what I have seen, from what people have said, it's very similar to the new Disneyland Hotel villas. Mm-hmm. Like the same kind of layout, same kind of like the Duo Studios, same kind of name. So I'm expecting they'll be very similar. I
mean, I think the variety of rooms is good for Polynesian. Mm-hmm. I know that spot in which they built it was a place where people like to watch the fireworks, which is probably why they put that there. And then I think, isn't there a lounge on top?
On top of this tower?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I think I read something, but there's something on top where you can like see the fireworks, which I would assume because you're gonna have a high view. But yeah, I mean, we'll see the final. It looks. I've seen a little bit more styling on it. It doesn't look as out of place as maybe I thought it would, but it's still going to look very different considering most of the Polynesian was built, many moons ago.
Many moons.
But we'll see. But hopefully we'll see if it gets done. I mean, say late 2024 could be December of 2024.
It could. What do you think, Kendra?
I would expect December 2024. When they say late,
they mean late.
Yeah, I would expect that. I do know our conference this year is in November. So I'm just wondering if things are going to coincide around that time frame. Because typically they will schedule the conference around certain things like that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Second thing about DVC and the resorts is the cabins at Fort Wilderness Resort are currently being transformed into Disney Vacation Club cabins. And they will be available for stays beginning this summer, actually.
The renderings are beautiful on those.
They are. We stayed at we stayed at a cabin as they are now. We've stayed at one time, and it wasn't it's not like spacious, I would say. Like, doesn't feel like super duper spacious. However, it sleeps 6. And like the new concept art looks very
open.
It looks like woodland chic.
I was actually going to say chic was going to be
woodland chic.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and like now that has the
woodland.
Yeah, and now it has like the Murphy bed instead of the pull out, which was just nice. Okay, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but looking in the concept art, did they move the bathroom?
They had to have, because there used to be a bathroom right when you walked in.
Yeah,
in the middle there, so they had to.
It was like right in the middle, and between the bedroom and the kitchen, and now it looks like the bedroom and the kitchen or the pull-out is right next to each other, and I think the bathroom's on the other side.
Yeah, so they put the bathroom at the far right.
Kitchen. Yeah. So that's an interesting change, but anyway, so. There are 350 of these, and it's supposed to open this summer. And I'm kind of sad that it's going just DVC.
I am too. These are really a really cool thing.
For us, I am, because it's a very hard. DVC is a hard sell for us because not everybody has that price point.
Right.
So, and not to mention, the inventory, obviously, first they're going to go to DVC, members. So, the inventory for us and people wanting to do it, and then people will end up going to like a wholesaler to get it, which makes me sad too. Not that there's anything wrong with a wholesaler for that, but we like to keep it in the family.
Yeah.
So that when they announced that, it made me sad, just because I've stayed in those cabins and I love them. It's one of those, we really like it there, especially around Christmas time, to be at Fort Wilderness, because it's pretty magical around Christmas there. I don't know if you've never stayed there. I highly recommend it, just because it's just extra magical with all the Christmas things that go on there. So that's kind of sad for me.
Yeah.
But, onward and upward.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me think of the fact that they were going to build, the Reflections Lodge or whatever it was called.
It was called Reflections.
Okay.
Rehab facility?
The rehab facility.
Reflections.
Disney's Reflections. So like they cleared the land, and like I don't think any construction equipment is left there. I think it's just flat land over there. So it makes you think, like, I wonder if they took some of the plans they were going to do for that, and they're just like, you know what, let's just convert already existing cabins, and we'll just take the design we had for that and make it this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, COVID really messed up a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yep.
I mean, it thwarted so many plans.
It sure did. Sure did. Okay, so let's talk about some other discounts that are available coming up here, or have already started. So, this is new today, or yesterday if you're listening to this on Thursday. You can save up to 35% off on rooms at select Disney Resort hotels when you stay 5 nights or longer. And this is valid most nights from July 8th through October 3rd. You can get some other savings, maybe. This is weird. Other savings may be available March 7th through July 7th. Which I don't know if, since it's a new one, you may not know, Kendra, but like it was like weird verbiage. They were like other savings may be available. I'm like, what is that?
I feel
mean?
like that's them seeing how bookings go the first part of the year.
You think?
I feel like that verbiage is them saying it may be available because they may need to offer more to get people to book stuff.
Because typically when they drop a promotion like this, there are, in pre-COVID, because we have to go everything back to pre-COVID because nothing has been the same since COVID. But pre-COVID, it was very, very limited availability at each resort. Mm-hmm. And I think Jared is very right when you start looking at room inventory and what is left. That gives them some wiggle room to adjust and to throw more rooms in that category to help sell, to help fill the resorts. So heads in beds, as they say. They want heads in beds.
Heads in beds.
So, heads in beds.
But it is weird that they would say that. I've never heard them. I mean, I think we've all known they do this, but it's like for them to actually come out and say it, you're like, okay.
Like you might get something.
That's like offering a sale, like we got 20% off TVs, but we may have some other savings too if you don't really want those. You're like,
yeah.
Are you okay?
So for us, our spring break is the last of March this year. I don't know what everybody else's spring break is like, but around here, that is when ours is. And it Easter ends up on one of the weekends because Easter is earlier this year. Mm-hmm. We were able to save families lots of money today with this other offer.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So it looks to be a really good offer. Now as how long it's going to be out there and for how many resorts, I can't tell you that. I guess just see the verbiage in the the vague verbiage.
Just you got a trip coming up, plug in those dates and see what you get.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what we did today, just because it was very vague, but it did end up saving one client $500, another client like $800. Wow. I mean, and that when you start, that's a chunk of money. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's sous vide money, that's food money, that's when you start that's a lot of money. It's not just like $100. I mean, it's a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else I think it was Club 32 or one of them said that they saved $750 off of it.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. Mm-hmm. There's also some more discounts for annual pass holders. They can save up to 35%, basically from like now until my birthday, July 7th. Same thing for Florida residents, save up to 30%. From now until my birthday. And then regular packages save up to 20% on select hotel rooms starting January 9th through the end of March. So a lot of discounts. And like I feel like they have a lot of discounts that are really far off. Like the 5 nights or longer discount of up to 35%. Doesn't it? I mean, you can go until October and it is January.
Yeah. I mean, I think they definitely, bookings I'm sure are not looking that great, and they're definitely trying to incentivize people because we don't really see booking like that far out this early typically.
I mean, right, Kendra?
No, I would agree with that. Yeah. And for us, revenge travel is over. So that's what we called it after COVID. And people were traveling real hard and real aggressively.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that anymore. And you don't want to talk politics, but anytime there is any type of election, travel tends to be not as good.
Okay.
When you have any type of those types of things coming up, people are, they're a little, they play it closer to the vest, I'll say. And so we'll see a lot of last minute travel probably this year.
I can see that, yeah.
Instead of the long planned out, like what we would typically, do the 180 days or more. We're not really seeing that just because people are playing it a little bit closer to the vest, and they're like, oh, well, we do have some of this money to spend. We can spend it now. So I feel like that's going to be this kind of a year, just simply because of historically what it looks like.
Yeah.
But and I've been in this industry a really long time. And so I'm going on my 17th year. So I've seen the roller coaster of the ebbs and flows. And typically that's what happens.
Well, people like to travel when things, travel is it's not a necessity sort of, well, I guess it depends on your person, but it's like, it's an extra thing when you have the money, and people like to travel when they feel comfortable. And anymore, whichever way you lean, I don't care. But election years are chaotic. Everybody feels like whatever side you're on, they feel like the world's going to burn down if somebody that they want doesn't get in. And so that causes people, like you said, to be like, well, I don't want to be caught out if something, whatever happens. Especially, I think, after COVID, people are very much just like, okay, I'm just going to chill and see how this goes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them trying to incentivize even more, especially as the year goes along.
And
I can see that.
Right. And I know that this is primarily, we're talking about Disney, but in general, we are seeing all of our vendors that we use offer substantial savings right now. So it's across the board, which again, it's my theory of, what's happening in the world. And that's just the way this year's going to be. Yeah.
And I think you do have a lag effect too, from like just economically, inflation and things like that sometimes hit people a little late. I mean, a lot of people had trips planned and paid for already. And then when it comes for another trip, they may not be pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Okay, moving on to after hours events are returning, starting January 10th at Hollywood Studios, January 11th at Magic Kingdom, and February 2nd at Epcot. That is right. There are no after hours events for Animal Kingdom.
I'm not surprised. They had them there a few times.
Would you go to that though?
Honestly, I don't think there's enough to do. And it's so spread out. I don't think that would.
It's so dark.
Yeah. Well, I talked to somebody that did it years ago, and they said that basically everybody just tried to ride Flight of Passage numerous times, and then what it turned into is, like I said, there's not many rides, and then it almost turned into a party atmosphere because everybody just wanted to basically just drink.
Yeah,
because there's not much else to do. So I think, Animal Kingdom wasn't really designed to be a night park when it was built anyways.
Right. No. And then going along with that, kind of extended evening hours are going back to Magic Kingdom beginning January 3rd. So that's today actually. So during the busy holiday months, these extra hours occurred at Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom instead. Now it's back to Epcot on Mondays and Magic Kingdom on Wednesdays like before. And I did have somebody on Trip Tales that talked about extended evening hours at Animal Kingdom. It was like November, I think, is when it happened. And yeah, she said that they spent most of their time riding Flight of Passage, and they were like dinosaur maybe, but like it was just like the thought of going back and forth between Dino Land and Asia and then back to Pandora. They were just like, oh, we didn't want to do that. I was like, I don't blame you. So but yeah, so anyway, back to Magic Kingdom, so which is where you really get your not money's worth.
I feel like that's where most people would rather do it.
The most bang for your buck.
Exactly. some notable ride closures and refurbs. Cali River Rapids is going down, always goes down during this time of year. It'll be down for a couple months, starting January 8th. Big Thunder will be down for a couple days, January 16th to the 20th. Frozen Ever After, just one day, January 24th. But Rock and Roller Coaster, it's closing January 8th, and they have not given us a date of when it's going to reopen. As of right now, it is still closed through the beginning of March. So if anybody has a trip coming up and they really like that ride, you may be disappointed.
So. Maybe they'll retheme it to Creed.
I don't know. I don't think a retheme is occurring. And I don't think they use Creed to retheme it.
They've kind of made a resurgence a little bit. I'm just saying. You know the funny thing is
that got her.
That did get Kendra. if you rethemed that to Creed, I'm telling you, it'd be more popular than Aerosmith. They've made a little bit of a resurgence. Listen, I see the analytics. I have my finger on the pulse of the trends, and I'm telling you.
Okay, Jared.
If you're right, I'll take back my laughter.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I say you imagine just going to the arms right up and then you just go into a loop.
My gosh.
And people would put their arms out
worst.
wide open and they'd hit each other.
I don't want to do that.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
I'll take things that will never happen for 200, Alex.
Don't say never.
Because, oh my gosh.
Don't say never.
There is, so they announced this also today, Wednesday. A new Disney Vacation Club member lounge is coming. It is going to begin to construction this year. Where? We don't know. When will it be done? No date given. Just that it's coming.
I think
there's another one for you.
I feel like somebody at some point at Disney is gonna be like, okay, on the docket, we can't do any of this. What is going on? Like, just say we don't know. We'll do it at some point.
I don't know.
Like, there's just when are you gonna build it? I don't know. When do you want it? We'll see.
Well, the thing is, like, you have the one in Epcot, and is that the only besides Top of the Lounge or Top of the World? And
by the way, have you ever been to Top of the World?
Yes, we have been.
It is beautiful, and the food's pretty good too.
Yeah,
It was years ago, again pre-COVID, and I went with a member, but it was really pretty up there.
It is cool. It's very small.
It was pre-COVID for us too, I believe.
Yes,
but yeah, it was before the Villains Lair stuff. But yeah, so new lounge is coming, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but Disney did announce that some Genie Plus changes were coming.
I remember.
But we don't know what those are.
Oh.
So, but that's supposed to happen.
All I can hope is that it's more like Disneyland. That's all I can hope for. Okay. It's so easy to use out there.
Can you explain what that means? Because we haven't, Jared's never been, and I haven't been in a long time to Disneyland.
So basically, there's no getting up at 7 a.m. and having to when you walk through the turnstile, because when you walk through the gates, that's when it begins. And the early bird gets the worm there. And it's just nice. And you can hop between the two parks. And once you use one, you can get one. And you scan through and boom, you can get another one. It's just easy. It's so easy.
I feel like that is probably something, well, I should say probably. I feel like it's something they should do, which is, I think, the biggest thing that people don't like about this system is the whole thing of, like, you're on vacation, but you got to get up at 7 a.m. to do all these things. And then I think the simplifying it, I've always said I think they're going to try and marry FastPass Plus and aspects of Genie Plus together into some sort of new system. Which, I think the one at Disneyland sounds a lot like kind of how FastPass Plus used to be a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to, I know that, here's the thing you have. The people that don't go to Disney a lot do not like Genie Plus because it has a steeper learning curve and it's harder to get. Now, the people that go all the time love Genie Plus because they can game the system. They can write a ton of stuff. But the problem with that is, like, you can't have, the majority of people going are not APs. So I think they're going to have to try and marry those two, or at least make it simpler. I'm sure the APs and the people like that won't like it, but you have to make that simpler because, like, even like when my brother went, trying to explain all this stuff to people that don't go a lot is like it's yeah, they just look at you like, why is this? I'm like, don't ask me. I didn't make these decisions. But, it's way too complicated, I think, for people that are just going for the first time and just want to go to a theme park.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's a lot. We spend a lot of time talking about Genie Plus to clients who have not been to Disney World in the past, however many years. And it's about education because we can't travel with them.
Right.
So, because it's complicated.
Well, and it's like, it very much if you're going to get it and how your trip is going to go with it is very much dependent upon how the person uses it.
Who wakes, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the person who wakes up in the morning to get everybody's first lightning lane and first Genie Plus experience.
Yeah. So even if you have a plan, you don't execute it well, it can make people walk away and say, oh, it's terrible. I didn't enjoy myself. So I definitely think that at least from a guest perspective, I think it would be in Disney's best interest to try and get back to a system that is just simpler to use. To me, I think they should, honestly, they probably would have been better off just keeping FastPass Plus and just making it paid. I think that's what most people expected. I know all of us had talked about before, they would just keep it how it was and just have people pay for it. People knew that system. I think for the most part, people would have maybe groaned a little bit, but I think most people were like, yeah, eventually they're going to charge for this. So, I think they'll probably maybe come back more to something like that.
Yeah.
Possibly. The last thing I'll mention real quick is that Festival of the Arts begins January 12th, runs through February 19th. It's not like new. It's just happening. So that's, that starts next week actually. So, and Kendra, you're going right to Festival of the Arts this year?
We are. We will be down. We're doing our agency training the end of January, 1st February, where the weeks kind of combine, half January, half February. So we'll be down there for that. Very excited. Festival of the Arts is my favorite festival.
Me too.
It is my favorite festival. So I love it.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. And then Flower Garden starts February 28th and runs through July. February 28th is very early, it feels like. I was like,
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know it always starts on a Wednesday. So when I was looking at the calendar before they announced it, I was like, so is it going to start on the 6th or February 28th? And they went with the 28th. So I don't know. But anyway, so that starts end of February.
There you go. Yeah.
Because it's leap year this year, right?
It is.
Yep.
So exciting. Anyway, that is all. That is the list. That's the list of what's coming in 2024.
Well, thank you, Jamie. That was a nice list.
Thank you.
It was thorough. I think we covered everything.
I think so.
That we have, but yeah. So, well, Kendra, thank you for joining us. And obviously, we talk about using Zip Travel all the time. What is the best way if people are looking to, save some time and money? Contact Zip Travel. Do you guys have any deals going into the new year and all that?
So if you book with us and you do the Disney Plus promotion with the free dining, we are giving away our Beat the Heat guide that you will get right before you travel. Nice. Because since it's in the summer, we're giving you all of our best tips and tricks to beat the heat. And of course, you always get a fun little gift when you check in with us. And we're going to be running some other things as the year progresses with different vendors. I know this is primarily Disney, but we also use other vendors, and we will be running a sale with Royal Caribbean that is for special onboard credit offers. And so there's a lot of really fun things on the horizon here at Zip and Money Savings for all of you out there.
And did you also say there was a deal with Disney Cruise as well? Half off deposits?
Currently right now they're doing the half off deposits. which people are thinking half off deposits. That's crazy. Well, with Disney Cruise Line deposits are pretty expensive. And so while you're not necessarily saving the total overall, you're saving a pretty big chunk up front. And so, which, my love for Disney Cruise Line, I love it like no other. And I'm not just saying that because it's Disney. It's just, when you're on a Disney cruise, it just feels you're in the bubble. It's, you don't have to worry about anything. There's no nickel and diming you. Like some other cruise lines can feel like, and we love Disney Cruise very much. I mean, I'm a platinum Disney cruiser, platinum Castaway Club member. So we really love Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah, awesome.
Indeed, yeah. Of course, go to travelwithzip.com, and there's a form there you can fill out. And Jamie and I all the time talk about using Lauren and Kindle and all that stuff, and it's much easier for us because sometimes you guys take care of it. It's easy.
Like, make this easier, please.
It's a lot easier. And as well as, you guys get a free gift from Zip, which we even sometimes get the free gift from Zip, which is always nice. Yeah. It's always a nice gift. But we'll also send you a free shirt from us as well, and some shop credit if you want some shirts and things or candles for your trip or when you get back or whatever it is. So again, go to travelwithzip.com and go check it out. So, all right. Well, thank you, Kendra, for joining us, and we will try and make it much more of a regular thing to have you on because it's always fun to chat and see how the things go throughout the year.
It is, and we'll get to meet up at the end of the month. I'm super excited about that.
Yay!
In the nice weather where it won't be so hot and sweaty.
Right.
Always a good time.
And maybe I can talk Jamie into doing another reel with us. We did a cute one last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm in.
Just reel it. I have no puns.
No puns.
Reel it up.
Just reel it in.
There you go. Reel her in. You can reel her in with a reel.
Oh my goodness.
Lord have mercy.
All right. Well, thank you, Kendra.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night.
Listening. Yeah. Good day. Have a good day on your drive to work.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that will do it for the show. But before we go, just want to mention we haven't really advertised it too much in the past. It's been busy from doing the shirt so much, but we are running a sale on 1901 candles right now. Given it's the new year and your house, maybe it smells like old Christmas trees. I don't know. A bunch of presents. Who knows? You had a bunch of family at your house. Maybe, uncles sometimes smell weird. I know my brother does. But anyways, if you want your house to smell better, you can get some candles. And right now we have a deal going on. You buy 3, get 1 free over at 1901candleco.com. All you got to do is use the promo code B3G1.
B3G1.
Buy 3, get 1.
All
and
right.
you will get, you buy 3 candles and you get 1 for free. So you have to have all 4 in your cart when you use the code, and then you will get 1 for free. So we have a bunch of scents in there. A lot of the Christmas ones I'm just going to keep in there right now because people really like those. So I'm just going to keep them in there right now. And we will have more scents come out later in the year as well. So I just want to put that out there. So if you want your house to smell wonderful, with my favorite one is probably Fall on Main Street, because I think it smells like somebody made like snickerdoodle cookies in your house, which is never a bad thing. Or you get like Main Street or a whipped pineapple if you want your house to smell like Dole Whip a bit, or if we even a Harry Potter scents if you want your house to smell like what you think Dumbledore's office might smell like, Headmaster's office, which I imagine is this rich mahogany, all that good stuff. So again, head over to 1901candleco.com and use that promo code B3G1. Then you buy 3, get 1 free. Well, obviously, be sure to check us out on social medias over at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok, where we are at Capture the Magic. And we have over on YouTube. So we've got some videos coming out on the main YouTube channel. Just had an Epic Universe construction update go up over there. And we're going to have a lot more videos on specific topics on Disney and Universal and Epic Universe stuff. So we'll have a lot more YouTube content coming in the next year. So be sure to subscribe over there. And if you want to watch video versions of the podcast or have, watch some clips, you can head over to the other YouTube channel, which is the CTM podcast YouTube channel. You can check us out over on there. And we have other shows too. We have the CTM Universal show, which is twice a month, excuse me. And the next episode there will be probably next week, where we'll talk about some things looking forward to Universal in 2024. And then Jamie has Trip Tales, which is her Trip Report show. And when's the next one there coming out probably?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
A couple weeks probably.
Okay. There we go. So there's plenty there for the little past year.
Yes.
So, and if you want even more content, of course, head over to ctmvip.com and join Club 32. And that is also the best way if you want to, contribute to the show. Joining Club 32 is a great way to do that. And that'll do it. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.